Hey guys, it's Dawn. All right, I've been really trying to avoid this, but okay, let's talk about my cutout crash. I finally had a cutout crash. It was on my master. It was the last Sunday of the month ride, and last month, November 2022. So it's been a little over 3 weeks now. The only injury that, okay, so it's over 55 miles an hour because I can go 55 miles an hour. I hit 55 on my master all the time, consistently. Not a real problem, unless sometimes I do hit a dip, and that the master's dip is crazy. It's like if it dips and you're not ready for it, then you crash. And that's what happened that other time. But so it was over 55 miles an hour. I think I've hit 56 before on the master. And it wasn't too big a deal because I mean, I know crashes on my motorcycle over 100 miles an hour crashes, and so like that wasn't a big deal. All of my gear worked the way that it was supposed to, so that's great. I did wear some gear like this jacket, my favorite jacket, as an outer jacket because it was chilly and it got completely torn up. And this is pretty much how all of my gear looked: my hip bag, my backpack, my actual protective gear, just completely chewed up. So how I crash is I always crash and hit my shoulder, always my left shoulder and all that. So it's all very, to me it's very predictable how I crash and what kind of gear I need to wear to protect myself from injuries. So the only injury that I got, let me see, can you see that? Okay, you see how that's healed? Because that's 3 weeks in. That is road rash, just a little bit of road rash right there on the back of my arm, because I always hit on my shoulder, and I had lots. It scraped away the hard armor and then through the red foam of my Liat 6.5 gear, and through the red foam, and then it finally got a little bit of skin. It was just a partial thickness road rash, not a full thickness. And so really, for that to be like the only injury on a over 55 mile an hour cutout crash, I think is like pretty good. I really didn't have any other injuries. I wear my motorcycle gloves, and this palm got torn. It got torn up, but I mean, I was protected. It did its job. This hand didn't get torn up at all because this hand's still broken. So when I crashed, I immediately tucked this one in to protect it, and I didn't I didn't put it down at all. So this hand was fine and this glove was fine, but I had to replace my gloves. I repaired my Liat 6.5 gear. I repaired my knee guards, my Liat knee guards. I am getting my backpack. I sent my backpack in for repairs using the Osprey lifetime warranty. Let's see, my helmet, I never hit my head. That was hummingbird trying to attack me. I never hit my head. I don't know. My hip bag, I had to replace the hip bag. Groot, I had to repair Groot. And my little boba, I had to clean him up, but he was fine otherwise. So yeah, not like a big deal at all. Oh, and my wheel. So my tether worked as intended and is awesome. I use a smaller tether now than the one that I made the video about before. So it's a little bit different. This is a kayak tether, and I've tested it multiple times, and it's always worked perfectly. The only thing is, this is my first this is my first high-speed EUC crash, high-speed cutout crash, right? Over 55 miles an hour. So I was very happy with how the tether performed, because it did exactly like I planned in my head that it should, which is it will stop the wheel from continuing the somersault, boom, boom, boom. It will stop that momentum, and it will disconnect from me, so that we're not going to be attached if anything bad really happens. In case of a huge pole, it will disconnect from me. And all of that happened exactly as planned. So I don't have a lot to show you guys, but I do have videos and pictures. So I will be putting the video at the end of this whole talk. I'll put in my crash video. This crash video is courtesy of Brandon from San Diego. Thank you again, Brandon. He got it on his helmet intercom camera thingy. And so he got the footage of my crash, but it's far, far away. So I had to edit the video, and I zoomed in, so the quality is not good, but you get the general gist of the situation. I'm kind of, you see the group go by, and then you see me on the left, and well, you see a car, and you see me right behind the car. And this wasn't me typical me, like zoom. You know when I'm zooming, because I'm like phew, and I'm like zoomed, right? This isn't me zooming. This is just me like chilling behind the car and like just going slow. And what happened was my wheel never beeped. And the thing is, I ride my beeps all the time. I'm very good at riding the beeps, but something happened with the firmware, and did not know that the firmware something changed, and my beeps wasn't happening until 97% PWM on the stand, which means that in real life it wasn't even going to beep until after my cutout. So that was a thing. I cut out, and then immediately I got up and I was like, wow, that was a cutout crash. And I was like, I never heard the beeps. There weren't any beeps, and I felt really betrayed. Because you got to be able to trust your wheel and all that. But anyways, it's figured out now that they've changed some more things with the firmware, and so now it's beeping at like 87%. It was beeping at 90, which I still don't like for the master. I think the master needs more margin of error than that. So but now I think it's beeping at 87, which is a little better. I'd prefer really for the master to start beeping at 80. Anyways, so that was the problem, is that it didn't beep like it was supposed to. All of the gear that I have made videos about, that I've talked about, all my gear choices worked perfectly. So you can go back and review that. The only thing that is different is my tether. The tether that my first choice tether was I don't know what it was. The Toei. That one is great, but it is quite large and thick around and all that. So I'm using a thinner tether now, the kayak one. And that one's been working perfectly. The only bad thing about the tether is that it does keep the wheel close to you. So, you could get more bruises on your shins, because it'll get tangled up with you. It'll get like just close to you and bumping you more like that. But I am of the person where I'm like, I would rather suffer some bruises on my legs from getting tangled up with my wheel, rather than my wheel shooting off a cliff or shooting off and hitting something and stuff like that. So that's a personal choice that I'm making. Let's see. So all of my gear choices, I still stand behind them all. My boots, my gloves, I replace things, and when I replace them with exactly the same as what I had before. The crash itself, not a big deal when with the tether. The only damage to my wheel was the headlight, but it's just the headlight on the sides, like where the headlight body. The headlight itself, the light, it still works. It's just the body of it is broken. And so I've jimmy rigged something so that it's still, I'm still using it and all that. But it's not pretty. It's like all rednecky like I do, but it works. The tail light, I just posted videos about the tail light. Melody had printed me up the tail light cover thing, and so that makes it so I don't even have to replace the tail light. I just put that on and it's working great. And then my foam on the foam seat on top, it had gouges in the foam. I melted it and made it, smoothed it out and made it fine. The rim, I think the rim got a little beat up and it's a little funky for me. I don't like it. I now have a little more wobbles, but I don't know. It's doable, and it might just be in my head. I don't know. So, but I think it's fine. So the wheel's fine. Okay, so the videos that I'm gonna put at the end of this, okay, it's gonna be Brandon's video of the crash. What I want you to watch is see how I crash, and then watch again and watch what the wheel does, and really watch to see what the tether does to the wheel, because so many people imagine what would happen if you were, because the Master is a heavy wheel, yeah, especially compared to me, and so many people have like imagined what would happen at a high speed crash with the tether and all this stuff, but you watch and you see what actually happens is with the Cutout crash, I end up in front of the wheel, and then we go, and then the wheel overtakes me, passes me, and after it passes me, it's still accelerating past me, and then you see it like jerk and down, and then we are separated immediately. And all of this happened. I mean, me talking about it is like, oh, that was like a 10-minute crash. All of this happens within like a minute or less, maybe a few like split second sort of thing, right? So I don't know, just watch the video and it's all there. You'll see that it stops the momentum of the wheel, and that way it reduces damage to the wheel. It reduces the potential damage to anything else around it and all of that stuff. So that crash really sold me more on the tether, and I've been wearing the tether consistently all throughout since the beginning, but this is my first time actually in a high-speed tether crash with the tether. So what else? Yeah, I didn't get damaged because I had good gear. My wheel didn't get damaged too much because of the tether, and overall, it was fine. So, okay, so let me go ahead and put all my photos and stuff like that, and you can browse through all that, and let me know what you guys think. I don't know. It wasn't too big a deal, and I'm actually glad that I experienced it, and it was actually on my to-do list. Have a high-speed Cutout crash on the Master. No, but seriously, like, I'm very curious, right? So I've always like, and like all of my planning and all of the things that I put into place for my gear and my safety choices and all of that was based off of theory of the worst possible crash you could experience on an EUC, which is the high-speed Cutout, right? And it was nice to have it be tested and have so much of it go right. So, overall, I think the whole thing was a win. Anyways, I had the crash, and it was our last Sunday of the month ride, which is an all day, sometimes all night ride. We just, and this happened early in the ride, and I still completed the whole ride. My Master was rideable. I was fine. We still completed the whole ride just fine, and everything was just as if nothing really happened. The biggest bummer was that I had to spend a bunch of money to replace a bunch of gear, and that kind of sucked. But not too big a deal. So there you go. Thanks for joining me today, and and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye. Oh, stay tuned for all the additional stuff after this. All right, bye. Hi, this is Dawn, and I'll show you my crash damage. So this is over 55-mile-an-hour uphill master cutout crash. Had some rash on both sides. On the sides here, not too bad. Lots of damage here and here. One of the biggest, I think, biggest points of impact was at this corner over here, and I'll show you why in a sec. But this front corner, on the back, it wasn't too bad. My taillight cover, the plastic shell is completely shattered, but I think the LED is still functional and working. So just the taillight, yeah, completely bad. Some rash over here, but not too bad. And then the top foam over here, you can see it's this side that took the brunt. So when we take this off, oh, and when I took this off, these screws were all bent up. So that was a little challenging to get these screws out. But see here, that is all shattered. This screw, actually, it broke off the screw head right there, and so the screw part's still in there. But my wheel's functional, and I was able to finish the ride with it. The headlight completely cracked over there, rash, and this side completely broke. So my headlight assembly is there, and it's crooked. I think it's just dented in. I think it's just the headlight that's dented in and crooked. But functionally, the motherboard and all that looks, I don't know, it looks fine to me. Didn't see anything worrisome there. My strap over here is a little damaged, but, and here is a better view of the taillight. This cover assembly is just, the shock, no damage to the shock at all. Actually, oh no, I think that was from before. That was from a crash before. So yeah, no damage to the shock because this protected it perfectly, the rear one. So thank you very much. Works great. Just sad that it's ugly now. So these gloves have taken a lot of hits, and so they got shaved down too thin, and that's why they finally tore. But this is my right glove, and all of the damage is on my right hand. No damage on the left hand because my left hand is broken. And so when I crashed, I made sure not to put I tucked my left hand in to protect the broken hand, put all of my weight on my right hand and my knees as first impact, and then flip myself over onto my shoulder where I have the shoulder pad, and onto my back. And the only reason I even have that road rash on my shoulder is because it shaved through the foam in that mesh area. So yeah, just use what armor you got and do what you can. But like, you know, the heavy duty wrist guards, they're like really, really thick plastic or really thick metal sometimes, and there's a lot of sliding that you can do. So that's another tactic, you know, another style or way of falling like Roger does is something different. But
I know in my motorcycle training, I always fall a certain way. I tuck and roll and stuff, and I slide. So I get the gear that falls in line with my training and how I fall. But yeah, there's different ways to fall that'll keep you safe, and that's just as important as the right gear. So, first off, they're not dolls. This is a Groot plushie. And secondly, yeah, he is all rashed up. He took a bad fall. And his butt is all rashed up. Look.